And we're live. Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your Evelyn host, Shorty, and we're a little bit late today, so I'm going to get into this quite quickly. What we're going to review is 10,000 Black Feathers, a part of the Bone Orchard mythos from Lemire and Sorrentino. And because I'm a little bit late, I'm going to basically just tell you what's going to happen in this review. I'm going to start with something I don't like about it, and then I'm going to spend most of the review telling you why it's amazing and I loved it, and the writing and the art's fantastic. And then I'm going to finish by basically telling you why I'm not adding it to my pull list. So it's going to be quite a short and thoroughly predictable roller coaster. But let's get into it, shall we? So we're going to start with the thing that just made me go, what? No? Because it's 2 lines of dialogue. And this comic book actually has some pretty good dialogue throughout. But there's going to be a bit where it's 2 characters talking to each other. And it's clearly 2 characters talking to each other. One person who just arrived talking to another one. Sorry, I'm out of frame a little bit there. Do apologise. Let me just readjust. So I thought it would be a good chance to do a signing here and also stop by and see you. The reply, well, I have all your books, you know. Okay, simple. Nothing really out of the ordinary there. But that is one dialogue bubble. That just feels like it's a weird little thing which a company like Image Comics should have picked up. This comic book has editors, surely, or proofreaders even, or somebody who just went, wait a second. And it just kind of pulled me out of it a little bit. Now, that being said, the dialogue is fantastic. It's brilliant. That is just like a weird little sample of it, which doesn't really do much because it's kind of there just to illustrate a point. But they do have some wonderful bits of writing here. Simplistic, minimalist writing. It doesn't really get into huge depth of a lot of things, but it doesn't need to because it uses its limited words to great effect. There's a conversation between 2 people basically talking about a book. Effectively, someone walks over and asks what the person's reading. They reply, and the conversation happens from there. But the way it's done is one character who is clearly effervescent, ebullient, and has absolutely no issue with the idea of somebody who would never want to talk to her. She is sarcastic but not mean. She's funny, charming, and genuinely unaware of the fact that people might not want to tell them what's going on. And the other person, clearly somebody who is not happy talking to people, especially complete strangers. She is obviously the opinion that any information she gives away might be used against her, probably because it has been in the past. And all of this comes out in 4 lines of dialogue, a back and forth, and that's it. That is effective character writing there. That just tells me almost everything I need to know about these people, why they end up being friends, and why they weren't to begin with. Later on, you meet one of the characters' mothers, who clearly doesn't want to be a mother. She wants to be a cool older sister. She almost certainly resents being a mum. And when something terrible does happen to her daughter, again, this is not really a spoiler counting, it's definitely there in the page, in the comics, she has to weigh her guilt up of maybe her distance as a mother may have something to do with it, but also the fact that she never really wants to be a mother in the first place, so how can it truly be her fault? All this comes through, again, in just few simple lines of dialogue that tell you about the character, that show you the character without really getting to depth. And one of my commentators said, show don't tell is the best. Yes, this is very much what goes on in this comic book. It doesn't really go into huge amounts of detail because it doesn't need to. And it sets up some brilliant horror as well. There's an idea that something horrendous is happening, but it isn't really horrendous until you think about it in detail. And it's the sound of feathers falling. Now, that in and of itself doesn't sound terrible, does it? I mean, would you even notice if you heard a feather fall or you didn't hear a feather fall? But if they're all black feathers, when I say all of them, I mean a lot of them. I mean, literally, as it says on the cover, 10,000 black feathers. The idea of that happening is a horrific thing, and be able to hear them and it being a constant that you're hearing and not being able to ignore and associating it with something terrible that has happened and may still be going on. That's brilliant. That is an unusually subtle kind of horror for something which is clearly riffing off a Lovecraftian kind of feel to it. And the artwork is brilliant as well. Sorrentino actually drifts a little bit into art style that reminds me more of Ice Cream Man. This page is a great example because it also has more traditional Sorrentino kind of darkness underscoring it. But some of the stuff like in the past is a different color palette. It's bright tones, clearer lines. It looks like a happier time, and it's really, really nicely done. And now we're going to get to the bit where it's not going on my pull list, simply because all of this beautiful build-up and subtle writing and intricate, slow storytelling ends with a final page which pretty much has a Lovecraft monster on it. Now, this is either going to be maybe satisfying somebody who wanted something slightly more Cthulhu, but honestly, it's going to come too little too late if that's what you were expecting, or it's going to annoy you because you were really enjoying the slow build-up, and then it comes across like a failed attempt at a jump scare. Don't get me wrong, it looks good. I was going to show you, but no, it is worth actually having that on the page and enjoying it as you're supposed to. But I think no matter which way around you're expecting a horror Lovecraft mythos kind of story to be presented to you, that final page will either not be enough or it'll be jarring. And it lets me down at the end of it, and it makes me think it's probably going to be best to read this one as a collection. They've already released one of the Bone Orchard Mythos books just as a full complete graphic novel, and I think that might be the way to go for these. We'll have to wait and see, but I am at least very, very interested in what this is doing and will continue to read it, but I'm probably going to wait until it's out in collection to buy it. That's it from me for today. I've still got like 3 or 4 things that I want to read and review, so there might be a bonus review tomorrow. Depends how busy I get. We'll see how it goes. But if I don't see you, then I'll see you on Tuesday. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.